I heard Pastor Tank's message. It was about embracing it, and that just proves to me even more how awesome God is. It's because, everything from the past week started to line up with the message that he gave me.
All right, come on. All right.
And I was given this message long before, it's just truly awesome. From last week's message to Wednesday night Bible study message, to this morning's Sunday school lesson, to this morning's message.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Come on now.
And his message was about embracing him.
Come on.
Embracing God.
Come on.
As you would a young baby. That was his message. It was a wonderful message. It was a powerful message. My thought for today is quality time.
All right now.
You see, there's many of y'all. I understand that in the scriptures that we read, it said marriage. Marriage. Now I know that everybody out here ain't married. All of y'all ain't married. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out here today don't have a helpmeet. You know what I'm saying? But it's not talking about that type of marriage. It's talking about in these verses, marriage is a noun. It's a person, a place, or a thing that you're giving your time to instead of giving God his quality time. Now, that's specifically in verse 34, but it's talking about marriages of this world. The marriages of this world, the marriages of the flesh. These, like I said, these are the things that are taking up most of our time. Cars, money, jobs. We put time and more time into those things instead of giving time to the Creator.
Help us. All right now.
Help us.
You right? Yes, sir.
When we do those things, see, we've already sinned because we've already broken the first commandment. That becomes your God.
All right now. Come on now.
Yes, sir.
That the first commandment says, "Thou shalt not have any other gods before me." So he wants his time.
All right now.
Now, I can stand up here and tell you that because, like Mama said, I wasn't always up here. I was in the Word. I was trying to get that money. I was trying to drive these cars. I was trying to wear these clothes, and I was spending my time and efforts where I shouldn't have been. It wasn't the way that I was brought up. It's the way that I went. You see, but the Bible says in Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way that he must go, and when he is old. You see where I'm standing at now. You see, I had a mama and a grandmama that prayed for me. They raised me up in the church. They kept me in the church. But when I turned 18, you see, that was all in God's plan, though. He had to let me go out, and they had to let me go and experience things that he needed me to experience in order to bring me to this point right here. Now, I know that some of y'all have experienced some things, and you're wondering what that is. You're experiencing these things because you need to give God his quality time. Bottom line, my interests were of this world.
That's it.
And not of his. But in Galatians 2:16 it says, nothing of the flesh be justified. I'm going to let that simmer for a minute. Because you see, like me, I had to make up my mind that I was going to go for him. I was going to run for him. I was going to do as he told me to do. I had to come back to the church first. You know, those of us who have grown up in the church is still in you. You just chose to push it to the side for a little while for your own personal gain.
All right now.
You can't forget where you come from. You have got to give the Creator his due. You have got to give him his time. His quality time.
Yes, sir.
And I ain't talking about just coming in here on Sunday and just going through the motions and then getting up and going home watching football. Now I'm going to help you out with the game of life right now.
Help us. Help us.
And you see, in the game of life, you see, your ministers are your coaches. Sunday morning is your pregame. Monday and Tuesday is your first and second quarter. Now you got to make it to halftime, so you got to come here on Wednesday night. You got to make it here on Wednesday night just so you can get through Thursday and Friday. And Saturday, set your butt down somewhere and get ready to come back for the pregame. You don't need to be spending Saturday all up in the club and then trying to come over in here and praise God. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. You know, you got to learn to praise God in the supernatural. You can't come up in here and praise God in the natural. You can't praise him in the flesh. You got to get supernatural with it. You got to go above and beyond. You see, you got to make up your mind that I'm not going to live for me. I'm going to live for him. See, when you make up your mind that you don't want the desires of this world, that you want the desires of his world, he'll open up the gates of heaven and pour them out to you. You see, now we're going to move on to verse 35. See, that's what verse 35 is speaking of. It's speaking of a marriage of the Spirit. You know, I'm going to put it to you on a level that you'll better understand it. See, in Isaiah 54 and 5, it says that for thy maker is thy husband. Now, I'm a husband. I know how I get if I don't get my quality time. I ain't going to sit up here and tell you, and all the rest of the husbands up in here, you know you got to have your quality time with your helpmate. How you think God feel? Well, that maker is our husband, and he ain't getting his quality time. Something ain't gonna work out now. That's why everything keep happening, other things keep coming up. And You understand where I'm coming from? But the only reason why those things are happening is because he's trying to draw you closer to him. He's trying to call you back. He's trying to grab you before you get too far. See, sometimes when we get out there too far, we get to messing things up for ourselves. But all we got to do, instead of running from the church, is come to the church. You know, in verse 35 and the rest of those verses, it's talking about your salvation.
Come on.
It's talking about your inheritance. Why give up your inheritance for something down here when you got much more up there? You know, one of our biggest problems is the fact that we have trouble with following instructions. Now, I know some of y'all now y'all done bought some furniture. You know, give you an example. You know, you bought some furniture, and the first thing you want to read is the instructions. See, because that's going to give you a good foundation for whatever it is you're going to sit it on. See, for whatever you're going to sit on that piece of furniture. See, but if you just start putting it together without reading the instruction, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. I hear you. Yes, sir. The house. Yeah, they with you.
You know, your instructions for the foundation of life itself are right here. They're in this Bible. Every word, every promise has been fulfilled. You know, every word has been laid out to you. You know, it ain't nothing in here that ain't happened before. You know, we as people of God shouldn't have trouble with following instructions. Now, if you got trouble following the instructions, then you need to check your walk with Christ. You say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. You see, you can pretty much tell who the ones who are having trouble following the instructions because they're the first ones to come down to the altar all the time. Instead of coming to the altar, because when they come to the altar, they take their problem back with them instead of leaving it here. Yeah. See, that's what it says. Bring it to the altar and leave it there. That's what you got to do. You got to bring it down here, bring it to the storehouse, and drop it off. You see, that was one of my biggest problems. You know, I when I started back to coming to church, I come, but I take my problems back with me.
That's it.
And I made them bigger than they were. You know, that domino effect. You know, one domino knocked down the next, then knocked down the next, and then knocked down the next. You know, we got, as people of God, we got to learn to bring it to Him. Cast it on Him. Let Him.
Right now.
That's it. That's what the word says.
You know, I'm getting ready to close here. So, like I said, I was one of those people. You know, I was one of those first CMEs myself. You know, y'all know who the first CMEs are. You know what I'm saying? First Sunday, Christmas, Mother's Day. I ain't ashamed to say that. You know, but in me learning to follow instructions, I'm gonna throw this in there for free.
Come on. Help us. Help us.
Those of you who are still first CMEs, when you come to church on first Sunday, don't touch that communion. If you gonna turn around, go back and do the same thing you was doing before you came here, please do not touch the communion. You see, because in Matthew 9:17, it says you can't put no new wine in no old bottle. You gonna drink it, then let's take your sip. You see, because when you put that new wine in an old bottle, that old bottle will begin to break and all the wine will leak out. See, but if you put that new wine into a new bottle, you will preserve both the wine and the bottle. I'm going to get ready to sit down. I'm going to sit down here with y'all. There's a parable in Matthew chapter 25. talks about the 10 virgins. And they were waiting for the bridegroom.
All right.
Now, half of them, well, they all had lamps. Half of them had enough oil for their lamp to work. The other half didn't have enough of it. Now, when they oil ran out, they were trying to borrow oil from the other one. They say back in the day, no, you got to get your own. You see, you can't get to heaven off of nobody else's oil. You got to come down here and get some for yourself. See, I can't get to heaven off of what grandmama know about Jesus. I can't get to heaven off of what my dad, what my granddaddy knew about Jesus. I can't get to heaven off of what pastor know about Jesus. I got to come down here and get it for myself. Now, if there's anybody in the house today that feel like you ain't got enough oil, now is the time to come down and start giving you some oil. Don't let your time run out. Do not let your time run out. No man knows the day nor the hour in which he's going to come back. Now, if he woke you up this morning, he woke you up for a reason. It might be for you to come down here right now.
All right now. Amen.
But do not let your time run out. Quality time.
That's right.
Quality time. That's all it takes is quality time.
Amen.
Just a few minutes. Just a few minutes each day.
Amen.
Just a moment each day.
That's it.
Thank you, Lord.
Just a little.
Thank you, Lord.
Just a little. Just a little. Store your oil. Come on down and get your oil.
Thank you, Lord.
This is my message. Quality time.